She learned early that being chosen meant being safe. She watched the girls who got picked first, for teams, for friendships, for love. And she studied them the way a linguist studies a foreign language. She learned to modulate her voice. She learned to soften her opinions. She learned to laugh at jokes she didn't find funny and to shrink her needs until they were small enough that no one could accuse her of being too much. And it worked. She became the woman people wanted at their dinner parties, the woman men wanted to marry, the woman bosses wanted on their teams. She was chosen. And somewhere beneath the relief of being chosen, she was disappearing. Jung called this the persona, the mask we construct to navigate the social world. It is not inherently false. Every woman learns to present a version of herself that the world rewards. The warmth, the agreeability, the instinct to make others comfortable before she even registers her own discomfort. But Jung believed something far more unsettling. He believed that the persona does not simply hide the self, it replaces it. The woman who has spent 20 years being chosen is often the woman who has lost access to the woman who might have chosen herself. Imagine a woman named Elena. Elena is 34. She is successful by every measure the world offers. She has a partner who adores her, friends who rely on her, colleagues who respect her. But Elena has noticed something she cannot name. She wakes up some mornings with a quiet dread she cannot trace to any specific cause. She feels restless in conversations that should feel connecting. She catches herself performing warmth she does not feel, then feeling guilty for the performance, then performing even harder to cover the guilt. Elena has spent her life being chosen, and she has no idea who she would be if she stopped auditioning. This is not a metaphor. Carl Jung wrote that the greatest burden a child can carry is the unlived life of the parents. But there is a corollary, he implied, without ever stating directly. The greatest burden a woman can carry is the unlived life of the version of herself she abandoned to be chosen. Elena's mother was not chosen. She was the difficult one. The woman who spoke too directly, wanted too much, refused to make herself smaller. Elena watched her mother's loneliness and made a silent vow. She would not become her mother. She would become whatever she needed to become to belong. And the belonging worked. That is the painful irony. The strategy succeeds. Being chosen feels like love. It feels like safety. It feels like proof that you are finally enough. But Jung drew a sharp line between belonging and individuation. Belonging is what the persona achieves. Individuation is what the soul demands. And the two are often at war. The persona wants to be chosen by others. The soul wants to be chosen by you. Here is where most self-help advice gets it wrong. The solution is not to stop caring what others think. It is not to become cold or hard or indifferent. The solution is to notice something Elena has never allowed herself to notice. She's been choosing everyone else her entire life. She chose her partner's comfort over her own exhaustion. She chose her friends' feelings over her own boundaries. She chose the room's approval over her own voice. She has been the chooser all along. She simply never chose herself. The moment a woman stops needing to be chosen is not a dramatic event. It does not announce itself with fireworks. It arrives quietly, often in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday. She's sitting across from someone who is evaluating her, a date, a boss, a friend. And she feels the old instinct rise. The instinct to perform, to charm, to become whatever version of herself this person needs. And then something shifts. Not because she has stopped caring, but because she has started noticing. She notices the cost of the performance. She notices the exhaustion that follows every interaction where she was chosen. She notices that being chosen by someone who has never seen her is not intimacy. It is a transaction, and she is tired of paying with pieces of herself. Jung called this the integration of the shadow. Not the dark, frightening shadow of popular psychology, but the shadow of the self that was rejected. The woman who spoke too loudly, wanted too openly, refused to perform. The woman her mother was, the woman she vowed never to become. She stops running from that woman and finally turns to face her. And what she discovers undoes her. The woman she was running from is not dangerous. She is not unlovable. She is not too much. She is simply real. And reality, unlike performance, does not require maintenance. The woman who stops needing to be chosen becomes something the world does not quite have a name for. She still shows up warmly. She still loves deeply. She still connects. But she is no longer auditioning. She's no longer curating a version of herself designed for approval. She's simply present. And presence, real, uncurated presence, is the one thing no amount of performance can manufacture. It is also the one thing that cannot be taken away. Because presence is not given by others, it is not withdrawn by rejection. It is what remains when you stop trying to be chosen and start choosing to be seen. The women who came before you could not afford this freedom. Your grandmother performed to survive. Your mother performed to belong. You are the first woman in your lineage who can afford to stop. Not because the world has become safe, but because you have become strong enough to hold the discomfort of not being chosen by everyone. And when you release the need to be chosen, something remarkable happens. The right people find you anyway. Not the curated version, the real one. The relationships that survive this shift are the relationships worth keeping. The ones that fall away were never relationships at all. They were performances, and you are done performing. If this found you at the right time, I'd genuinely love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me one word: sovereign. Not because you have mastered this. Because you are beginning to choose the woman who spent a lifetime choosing everyone else. This is the sovereign path. And the path begins when you stop asking to be chosen and start choosing yourself. Until next time, keep walking your sovereign path.